Rich people, they aren't like you. And the Wall Street Journal just proved it. And I'm not just talking about nicer homes, fancier cars, flying first class, or even getting all of this done. They live an entire different reality, but I think there's a way for you to make money off of it. This video isn't telling you to manifest your way to here. This video is showing you how they have a secret economy and we can charge them things in order to get money that rich people have. Let's do this. The US is home to 40% of the world's super rich. That's people worth 10 million bucks or more, and 11,000 people over 100 million. The top 10% of US households, they now account for nearly half of all spending.
Well, the ultra wealthy just got ultra wealthier. The top 10% of Americans added over $5 trillion to their wealth.
Their day looks very different from yours. This is actually a real example from someone I know. They wake up in a $40 million home in Miami. Their home is organized by their staff, which coupled with security and maintenance team costs well over $500K a year. Their $500 an hour trainer meets them in their private home gym. It's got an infrared sauna and cold plunge, of course. A chef prepares traditional breakfast at $150K a year, and their personal driver takes them to the office. This lifestyle is happening every day in cities like Miami here, Austin, New York, Aspen, Scottsdale. And here's the wild part. It is accelerating. According to the Wall Street Journal, the top 1% of Americans now control over $23 trillion in wealth. That's double what they had just 10 years ago. Since 2020, Miami alone has seen 70% increase in high net worth migration. So luxury hospitality in these zones is growing 4x faster than the traditional travel industry. Visitors here casually book $10,000 yacht days, $30,000 private flights, $1,000 a day concierge services. Just this hotel room is $800 a night. So let me decode that for you. This isn't just about money, this is about access, like chartering a jet for $15K an hour, so you skip the 5-hour commercial trip. But the secret isn't to get rich like them, it is to sell to them. That is what we're learning today. They've created an entirely separate ecosystem, and every layer of that, they need providers. There's this guy, for instance, who does jet detailing and gets paid $9,000 every hour. The question is not, how do I spend so much money like them? Or how do I break into their world? It's how do I sell something so valuable they let me inside? Actually, at our event, Main Street Millionaire Live, I'm gonna tell you how thousands of people have done this with boring businesses, because it's not so boring if the price tag's really big. I think what happens with most people is they try to look rich instead of getting rich, and you're gonna be the opposite of that. You're gonna chase quiet wealth. And we have a framework for that, where you stop chasing attention and you start actually chasing cash flow. You know, you might not be rich today, but you can implement the right actions and business model that allow you to take some of the opportunity that the rich people have surrounding them. And what do I mean by quiet wealth? Let's think about it like the word quiet. So Q stands for question the noise. This is stop assuming that status equals success, and also stop assuming that your bank account and how much you would spend is how much they would. Then you've got the U, which is understand where the real value is. You know, monies flow where problems exist. So what you actually want to do is look for the problems. That's where all the profit is. The I stands for identify high net worth clients. So these are people who already have the money or access to them because they're a vendor. Then you've got E, which is execute. I don't just want you to get a job working for them. I want you to build or buy a business. And then finally, T is time. Time is the asset. If you can give more time back to the rich, and if you can actually take your time and add systems to them, you can create a business where you can create 6, 7 figures and beyond. So if I can talk to you about one thing, it's to stop building trendy businesses. Do not look for the sexy, hot, new pop-up nonsense, whatever. Start building the useful businesses, because once you see this economy clearly, you can stop playing checkers and play chess in a world of people that only think one move at a time. There's 4 tiers to sell to the rich. This is where most people start, and it's the lowest barrier to entry. Convenience is the gateway drug to wealth when you're selling to rich people. This tier is all about removing micro frictions from their life and charging them for it. So dog walking, $25 an hour. In-home hairstyling and makeup artists, $150 an hour. Landscapers, $200 to $2,000 per job. Flower delivery and arrangement services, $300 to $500 for delivery and arrangement. But here's the pricing mistake most people make in C tier. They price convenience like it's labor. So if it takes you an hour to run an errand, you charge for 1 hour. That's not what we're gonna do. Rich people don't think in hours. They don't care how long it takes you. They think in job completion. So you're going to charge per day, per week, per month, and per job. 125 to 250 bucks per day, 3,000 to 7,000 per month, or per job completed. This is how we move away from the hourly income method and go to an outcome-based method. You can become the person who improves the whole home. You could build a business around it. You don't have to be a nanny to the stars. You could have a reliable childcare business and make great money, like these guys, Norland Nannies. They place childcare pros earning $150K a year with ultra-wealthy families, where parents outsource not just supervision, but education, travel, emotional development. Or you could scale it like Rinse, which has built a nearly $20 million a year business simply by charging busy, rich customers that never think about Andre again. In Main Street Millionaire, I talk about how wealth is built by owning boring, repeatable systems, by removing friction from everyday life. You're absorbing chaos, you're smoothing life for them. And in return, you get paid. Let's get to B tier expertise. Here's what happens once you've handled convenience well. You see, C tier gets you inside their house, B tier gets you inside their head. This is when you're no longer saving them time, you're saving them thinking. Let's talk about specialized competence, not genius level brilliance. Examples: smart home setup, like Maxicon, South Florida. This smart home and security integrator, doing an estimated 10 million plus a year, charges wealthy homeowners 100K to 400K to fully automate their estates, and then has a retainer, so every single month they have tactical, hands-on setup and oversight. How about personal styling and wardrobe systems? Look at this one. Editorialist private client charges rich customers $800 to $1,750 a month, plus a $6,000 initiation fee to manage their wardrobe, which is wild. They like digitize your closet. You guys remember Clueless, where all of her clothes are inside of a computer? Literally that. Curate outfits, they source rare pieces, and they turn personal style into a recurring high margin business. I guess by removing the need to ever think about what to wear again. Or you've got high touch travel planning. This is like Elysian Journeys, for example. Charge wealthy clients $5,000 just to plan a single trip, or $2,500 per month on retainer to manage travel year round. You notice this pattern? These aren't one-off tasks, they're systems. Because rich people don't want 10 vendors, they want one person who just knows them. So once you're in B tier, you stop waiting for instructions. You walk in and say, here's what I recommend. And that sentence is worth a lot of money. Here's why pricing jumps fast at this tier. You're not charging for output, you're charging for judgment. And that's why B tier services routinely command $10,000 to $100,000 per year per client. These are retainers, not hourly rates, because of long-term relationships, not transactions. Now, the cool part is you're also harder to replace at this level because they'd have to hire multiple people, learn new systems, have weeks burned of mental energy, and rich people hate all of that. We teach in the boardroom the most profitable businesses, they don't rely on hustle, they rely on know-how and systems. You're packaging your expertise into something that feels calm, repeatable, and inevitable. So A tier I call trust. Once someone trusts your expertise, they give you control. And that's where A tier begins. Because now you're not just helping them make decisions, you're making them on their behalf. So you go from becoming the go-to person to being the person who makes things go. This is where chief of staff comes in. Companies and high wealth families hire a chief of staff just to manage their household. And you might recognize this role because they have one in the White House. Susan Wiles, President Trump's chief of staff, her whole job is to manage the flow of information, the personalities, the information. They say it is one of the most powerful roles in the world. Wealthy families do the same thing. Here's one. It pays $250,000. I see this and I go straight to the bottom line. MBA not required. They're not paying for your business knowledge. They're paying for you to influence, manage, and coordinate at an extremely high level. You're not support, you're infrastructure. It's also super high stakes trust because you become the human firewall between chaos and calm. Once you're at this level, stakes are super expensive. Doing it right, priceless, so they can function. You're embedded. And once you hit that level, you're not part of the team, you run it. You are the reason the private jet is wheels up at 215. The Wagyu is medium rare at 703 sharp. But if you want to see where the real power lives, let's talk about tier S, because that's where you stop operating the machine and start being the one who designs it. I call this S tier the authority tier. So you run the whole engine. You make the engine. No one's second guessing you anymore. This is the level where the clients stop asking the questions because your judgment is probably more than theirs. Here in Miami, this is everywhere. Some of the big names that you recognize, Enrique Iglesias, David Beckham, Jennifer Lopez, you know their names, but you probably don't know the people who make millions a year serving them, like their private CFOs, chief financial officers that manage their investments, check in on how much money they're spending. These people can make $250,000 $250,000 to $1 million per year. They might have a principal advisor. This is a role you might land after working with clients in a banking or investment nature. Pay structure could be $250K up to $1 million plus. An estate director oversees their properties, assets, construction, projects. This is a role you might get by knowing someone in the inner circle and having done it for somebody else before, $250 to $350K plus. So you're now sort of an institution inside somebody else's empire. For instance, the average CIO, one I have, Chief Investment Officer, they're making about $500,000 a year. And they're creating systems, strategy, and structure. And this is interesting because here's what I think this tier looks like. $4,000 to $500,000 per year when you're a pro, plus what's called a performance bonus, so if you execute like you're supposed to, plus potentially even a profit share on the additional revenue you make the company. You could even potentially get some equity in some of their underlying companies. But there's some downsides. Long-term agreements with this have golden handcuffs, and they make sure that trust is tantamount. Because S tier isn't about what you do, it's about who you are to this family, and it's not for the faint of heart. You will get fired if you mess this up, like quickly. These people do not tolerate mistakes at this level. They outsource decisions because they don't have time to second guess you. But forget that this is a 9 to 5. You're expected to anticipate what they need before they ask and get it right the first time. The hours on this are going to be late night texts, weekend crises, jet lags, vacations are on call, privacy doesn't exist, and loyalty is a non-negotiable. This is the major leagues. But you are the engine. So if the engine sputters, you're gone. If the engine takes off, you're gonna make way more money. That's S tier. You're not famous, but you're the man behind the man. And you make the calls no one else sees. And in return, you can build an income that is not normal. C tier, convenience, you're useful. B tier, expertise, you're respected. A tier, trust, you're relied on. S tier, authority, you're essential. And you're the top of the hierarchy. It's how you turn simple services into serious income and then quiet power. And if you want to build your own empire, then you might even eventually ask them to invest in you, to build something they can't build right now. You might scale up the ladder because at some point, once you spend 1 to 3 years in the first level, prove yourself, you solve one problem well, you get referred to others, you package your services, you now have a business, you train others to do it for you, you have a scalable asset, you spend another 3 to 7 years kind of perfecting that at B tier. You control the process, the pipeline, the personnel. You don't have a job now, you are a machine. Maybe the next 5 to 7 years, you're building and taking ownership, learning from the knowledge you've gained, building this team. You get in the A tier of trust. From there, you could reach the higher levels of income, responsibility, authority, and wealth attached to it. It doesn't happen overnight, but this hierarchy is a roadmap to millions of dollars while working with somebody else. So pick a tier, nail it, then climb to the next one. Because the only thing more profitable than solving rich people's problems, solving them so well, they trust you to solve the next 10 without asking. So you don't actually have to invent something new to make money from the rich. You just need to own the kind of businesses they already rely on. And it's how you find them, buy them, and grow them without reinventing this wheel. In fact, I'll show you how to do it live at Main Street Millionaire Live. Because if you start there and you solve problems better than anyone else and stay consistent, you won't just serve the wealthy, you might become one of them, but then don't become a jerk.